Okay, I'm going to run through constructing an object and creating a tester class. So we're just going to do a car object. I'm going to do some instance variables. Let's just do a year. That'll be an integer. Let's do model. Remember, all our instance variables are private. Model should be a string. And let's do a Boolean. Does run. Okay, now let's fill in our constructor. We need an input for each instance variable that we need to set. The data type just has to match the data type of the instance variable. And I always just add the word in to the end. You can do whatever you want for these variable names up in the argument list. I just stick with in just to keep it unique. It just has to be a unique instance variable so I can, or excuse me, a unique variable so I can set it to the instance variable cleanly. And that's it. So I have 3 instance variables in my constructor. Compile. Okay, now we're going to do everything from a tester class this time, as the book has gone on to explain. So all I have to do over here, because they're in the same project, tester class is only going to have a main. And I can construct as many cars as I want to over here now. As long as it's in the same project, Java's going to know about it. I don't need to import it. Now my arguments to my constructor has to match the order that I have them here. So I have to first do a year, then a model, then a Boolean. Otherwise this won't run. So let's make it a 1967. The model is a string, so that must be in quotes. And then let's say that it does run. Okay, that should compile fine. Good. Let's do a second car. Make it a 1970. And let's say this one doesn't run. Okay, so this should all compile fine. The compile button out here will compile both classes. So you don't need to hit the separate compiles like that. Okay, now let's do a nice toString method so we can actually see. Doesn't need inputs. We can actually print out our cars nicely. Don't forget new lines at the end, so this is formatted nicely. And we just need a line for each instance variable. Okay, so we'll do the year, the model, and does it run? Okay, that's a nice toString method. Of course, you have to return it. Let's make sure that compiles. Whoops, we missed parentheses, not needed there. Copying code is good, but then you do copy over errors. Okay, that's good. Now let's update our car tester to call those. And because it returns something, I can embed it right in the print line, right? It returns a string. And we'll do that once for each car. And we could do this for 3, 4, 5 cars very fast. As you can see right now, I can just keep adding cars and calling the toString method on them. Now if I run this, oh, I need to clear that first. If I run this, we get some nice output data. Oh, except we forgot the \n. See how it's all on one line? Don't want that. Let's fix our toString. We want a \n here. Darn. Okay. Just add that to the end of each line. And you do want it on the last line too, so that you have spaces in between the cars or anything else that you're going to print. I gotta clear that though. Okay. Okay, so now we have nice car data that prints out. That's our 67 Camaro and our 70 Chevelle. That doesn't run. I'll clear that for next time. Okay, so back to the car. Let's do our getters and setters, or our accessors and mutators, whatever you want to call them. I'll do our getters first. No inputs. Return value is the value of what you're returning. Year is an int, so this is an int. All our getters are public. We're going to do one of these for each of our instance variables. Just going to keep these tight together. So get model. Model's a string. Then we have to get the does run. Does run's a Boolean. Okay, so those are that fast. The getters are done. Let's do our setters. Setters don't return anything. Remember, they're just updating the value. We do need input in. And it's just setting our instance variable. That's it. So we need one for each. Okay. We'll do it for model. Oops. Okay, we have to update the name to get model. Then we'll do one more for the Boolean does run. Why is that? Set year, set model, set does run. Doesn't return anything, takes in a Boolean, does run. And we do our set line. Okay, so we have our three setters, our three getters, get year, get model, get does run, int, string, Boolean, just returns the instance variable. Then we have our three setters, sets the year, sets the model, sets whether it runs or not. All right, so those are all done. We've got our two strings, we've got our tester. So that's basically the whole object. You can do this for any object just this quickly. It just needs your constructor, your getters and setters, and a toString. Then you start thinking about what real world stuff do I want to represent, what kind of computations do I want to do. Those are called your helper methods. So let's just do one, have it return an int. Let's get age of car. So we'll need to send in the current year, because that'll change. And we just need to return, current year. The current year minus the year of the car, right? That'll give us how many years old the car is. That'll compile. Oops. Boolean does run. Oh, it's up here. This is not a good highlight. And you'll see how sometimes compile errors don't quite highlight the right spot. This should be a string. Sometimes you have to look up above. Okay, now we're good. Let's go over to our tester and we'll call that. And since it returns something, we can just embed it into a print line. Make this a little bigger because this one's going to be long. Age of, and we're not going to hard code Camaro or Chevelle there. Whenever something is an instance variable, you should call it. Because if you think about the does run, or maybe we restored color, if that changes and I hard coded color or whether something ran in here because I just happened to know it, then it's going to be wrong the next time I call it, unless I do this. If I don't do car1.getModel, that's what you want to do whenever you can. And let's call our helper method. What did we call that again? Age of car. And we just have to pass in the current year. Okay, let's do that for both cars. And all we have to do is update car, the variable name, so we're calling it on the right one. Okay, Compile. Don't know if that's clear or not. Let's look. Yep, it was clear. Okay, so we printed out our 2 car datas and the age of both cars. So that's about it. I'm going to post this up on Blackboard, and I'll also put the 2 Java files up there. Watch this a lot. If you're confused about this, watch this a lot because things are going to get much harder from here.